The Arnold Color Jitter map gives us the ability to create different shading effects on objects. This is a great way to quickly randomize colors on many objects at once, such as this cityscape, which has almost 2,000 buildings in it. Let's do an active shade render. It's got an Arnold standard surface applied already. Click on active shade. And there it is with no color jitter. Now let's open up the material editor. And here's the material that is currently applied onto all of the buildings. The Arnold Color Jitter node is found in the Material Map browser under Maps, Arnold, Color. Drag the Color Jitter node over into the view, double-click it, and rename it Buildings Color Jitter. And connect its output to the base color input on the Arnold standard surface material. And with all of the values zeroed out, we're simply going to send this input color here to all of the buildings. If I change that input color, then we can see the active shade updates. We want the input color actually to be black in this case, so that we're not adding anything to the color jitter effect itself. Here we see the color jitter input set to black. We can close the color selector and start playing around with these various rollouts. I just want to explain a little bit here. You'll see some extraneous stuff down here at the bottom. Forget about these maps here. These are just duplicates of everything that you see in the upper rollouts, so we can close maps. User data is only here for compatibility with scripts and plugins, so that doesn't apply to us. And procedural only applies to Arnold procedural objects, and not ordinary 3ds Max objects. An Arnold procedural object can be a stand-in or a render proxy mesh object, or it can be a truly procedurally generated object that is created by an algorithm or code. So that doesn't apply to us either because we're using standard 3ds Max objects. Then we come to the face section, and this is a way to vary each individual triangle based upon these values. So if I increase the gain max in the face section, then we will see some variation in each one of the triangles. Let's set gain max to 1 so we don't blast out the exposure. There is no way to shade by quadrilateral or by polygon, and that's just because of a limitation in Arnold. Arnold does not know anything about 3ds Max polygons, and everything in Arnold is rendered as triangles. So this is not the aesthetic look that I'm going for. So I'm not going to use the face mode. I'm going to set the gain max back down to 0. Instead, I'll use object mode. And I've got some predetermined values here that I know will look good because I've experimented with this a little bit. We'll set gain min to 0.25 and set gain max to 0.9. Those numerical gain values correspond to brightnesses. So we're never going up to the maximum brightness of 1 or pure white. Let's give this some actual color. Increase the saturation max to 0.5. And all of the colors are red because we have no hue variation. So we can change up the hue min and hue max. For example, if I set them both to the same value, then we would choose a single hue for all of the variations. Let's say I set hue min to 0.7 and also hue max to 0.7. And now they all have this purple color. Well, what I want is some amount of hue variation, so we'll change this up. We'll set hue min to 0 and hue max to 0.5. Now I'm getting a mostly green, but sometimes red hue. If I want a more blue hue, then maybe I can change these values one last time. Set hue min to 0.5 and hue max to 0.7. Color jitter can be used to modify existing maps through compositing operations such as multiplication, addition, or layering. Just remember that the 3ds Max legacy maps do not support Arnold nodes such as color jitter. That means you can't, for example, send the color jitter node to the input of a 3ds Max composite map. All nodes downstream of the Arnold node must support Arnold. So for now, you'll need to use the Arnold native maps. Let's take a look at that very quickly. Inside the Arnold section, we have, for example, a native composite map. It only has 2 channels, but it does the job. There are also a whole bunch of math nodes in here, so you can construct your own shading network to manipulate this color jitter information. That's how to use the Arnold Color Jitter map to vary a material across many objects.